Don't blink or you might miss XRP moon rocketing to $161 million or crashing to 1/10 of a cent. Yes, those numbers really flashed on real screens and people totally freaked out. So here's the wild story that I need to share. For the past 6 years, XRP has been the king of did my eyes just deceive me kind of price glitches. From Coinbase to live American TV, right? Stick around because I'm going to walk you through every head-spinning spike and kind of faceplant, if you will, why they happened and how a single hiccup on an exchange can instantly vaporize or, inflate, billions on paper. Now, by the end, you're going to know exactly how to spot a glitch before it torches your portfolio. Plus, I'm going to tell you one setting I always kind of change on every trading app to stay safe. I remember January 4th, 2019 like it was yesterday because crypto Twitter was having an absolute meltdown. I fired up Coinbase, rubbed my eyes, and there it was. XRP was $7,308 a coin. Now for context, Bitcoin itself was kind of lounging in that kind of same 4-digit neighborhood, and our buddy XRP was supposed to be about 20 cents. Now the same part of my brain whispered this must be a tech hiccup, but the degenerate gambler part screamed sell the car, we're rich. And it turns out Coinbase's 1-minute chart had crossed its data wires, probably swapping Bitcoin's price feed with XRP symbol for a split second. It was the first time I truly understood how fragile these price tickers could be. Then along came TradingView, the charting platform that we all try to treat like gospel. Now, a few weeks later, its interface flashed XRP at $9,864. And I'm talking life-changing, mortgage obliterating kind of beach house money right there in a neon candlestick, right? Now, meanwhile, of course, every legitimate exchange in the universe still had XRP pegged at that kind of sleepy 21 cents. Now, some people, of course, screenshotted the madness faster than you can say Lambo. But again, it was just TradingView's front end kind of tripping over its own data. No trades were executed, no whales secretly buying out the supply, just electrons misbehaving. Fast forward to December of 2021 and we get the big one. CoinMarketCap and Coinbase simultaneously vomiting out numbers so ridiculous that it looks like they've been prank hacked by aliens. XRP, well, it's a casual $161 million per coin. Dogecoin, also in the millions. For about 20 minutes or so on my phone, it was kind of a siren of pushing notifications and panic group chat messages, right? Both platforms kind of blamed data feed malfunctions, which is, Silicon Valley speak for our code took a coffee break. Now they kind of patched it up pretty quickly, but not before a bunch of novice investors kind of learned the hard way that screenshots aren't the same thing as sell orders. By October 2023, CoinMarketCap was back on its nonsense, advertising XRP at $34,603. Actual market price at that moment, 56 cents and some kind of pocket lint, if you will. Now, I remember kind of scrolling through Reddit and seeing half the commentators planning yachts, the other half screaming glitch. The weird part, of course, some third-party bots also scrape CMC for signals and lit up Twitter with XRP breakout alerts everywhere. So even if you never opened the site, you might have gotten false hype, pumped straight into your feed. August 10th, 2023, right? Deserves its own trophy, right? Gemini had just relisted XRP after that brief legal drama, and within seconds, the thin order book got hammered by a swarm of FOMO buyers. The price ping-ponged up to $50, almost 100 times the market value, before gravity remembered to exist, right? Now, unlike the chart's only kind of errors, this spike was real trades matching at insane prices, simply because there was only really a handful of sell orders on the order book. Now, somebody out there actually paid, dinner for two money for a single XRP. Now, may the crypto gods bless their innocent souls. March 2024. It moved the circus to Atlantis Exchange. Never heard of it? You're not alone. Now, liquidity on the platform was so shallow that a couple of chunky market orders sent XRP soaring to $70. So imagine trying to buy a bottle of water in the desert, right? With no sellers, the price kind of meter just keeps on spinning, right? The exchange shrugged and blamed low volume, which is kind of like a theme park saying, sorry, the roller coaster flew off the tracks, not enough riders today. Just 1 month later in April, well, BitTrue's derivatives desk gave us the nightmare scenario, right? A flash crash nuked XRP's price down to 0.0001 of a cent, right? People with 50x leverage got liquidated so fast that their margin calls didn't even have time to text them goodbye, right? The price snapped back within seconds, but the damage was permanent. Forced closures, wiped balances, and the kind of subreddit of fear of tears, if you will, all because one stray sell wall kind of met a gap in the order book. Need more? Well, July 2024. 𝗕𝗄𝗃 saw XRP tripling in 60 seconds, topping out at $2, while Binance was sipping tea at kind of 60 cents. Now, for minutes later, it was back to normal, and 𝗕𝗄𝗃 confirmed it was a temporary glitch in a kind of specific trading pair. Translation: the matrix glitched, Neo. August 18th, 2024. Coinbase took its turn again, briefly printing $22.50. Now, I was eating kind of a shawarma at the time when my buddy kind of messaged, check XRP now. Now, I almost kind of choked on garlic sauce, right? Because by the time I refreshed the chart, it had already settled back under 60 cents. Now, Coinbase didn't even issue a fancy press release. They just kind of quietly fixed the number and hoped that no one would notice and just, well, moved on. October 2024. It gave us my favorite because it was, immortalized, if you will, in traders' kind of, shaky kind of phone video, if you will, right? Binance suddenly displayed XRP at $5,791. Then, like a drunk roller coaster, it corrected to $579 and shot right back up again. Now, the clip hit Twitter, right, or X, racked up millions in views and convinced the whole new batch of newcomers that the hidden price books were about to unleash generational wealth. Spoiler, it was again just electrons trolling us. And then came last month. The glitch that escaped the crypto echo chamber and aired live on mainstream American TV. Real American Voice flashed XRP at $21,000 during a financial segment. Now, grandma sipping her coffee saw the ticker and, well, probably thought her grandkid's dusty wallet just kind of paid off the farmhouse. Suddenly, every kind of family WhatsApp lit up with, should we buy XRP messages? And that's how powerful a single innocent or incorrect data point can be when it escapes our niche corners of the internet. And here is where the story gets real. These glitches, they aren't just hilarious memes. They can actually empty wallets or spark lawsuits, right? When BitTrue created, to 0.0001 cent, right? Leveraged traders, they got liquidated in milliseconds, right? Some tried suing for unfair liquidations, but the fine print on the derivatives platforms usually says prices can go haywire, trades at your own risk. Now, on the flip side, of course, if you're lucky enough to sell into a $50 Gemini spike, well, the exchange can legally roll back the trade, citing obvious errors. So you can lose real money, but rarely actually gain any real money from a glitch. The house always wins. But let's peel back and why this kind of keeps happening with XRP specifically. Now, one reason is that XRP trades are, on particular kind of exchanges, or every exchange under the sun to a degree, kind of big and tiny, liquid and potentially ghost chains, that kind of the more I guess, Venus, the more data feeds have to kind of sync, if you will, right? Now, API kind of burps, if you will, and suddenly your chart is drinking rocket fuel, right? Reason 2, right, order book depth, right? Because XRP is cheap per unit, casual traders love stacking thousands of coins. Now, thin books plus emotional volume kind of equals giant price slippage. Now, finally, of course, there are some simple kind of brand, concepts out here, right? Notoriously, right? Now, people kind of watch XRP like a hawk because of its kind of never-ending legal soap opera, if you will. So every kind of glitch gets amplified across social media faster than most other altcoins. And of course, you've got some stats, right? Now, let's get into this, but I'll try to keep it as painless as possible. A 2023 study found that over 78% of crypto price anomalies lasted for more than 10 seconds, and occurred on assets with kind of per coin prices under $1. Now, another 12%, they kind of hit assets debuting on new exchanges within their kind of first hour of listing. Combine both categories and you basically have the Gemini $50 fiasco in a nutshell, right? Meanwhile, of course, you've got Chainalysis that reported that flash crash liquidations accounted for $264 million in trader losses in 2024 alone. And over a kind of third of that came from XRP contracts on smaller derivative venues. So I guess the scariest moment for me kind of personally was the kind of BitTrue flash crash, right? I wasn't even in a position to kind of, get liquidated, but I watched a friend's 5-figure long kind of get obliterated, while we were kind of on a voice chat. Now, 1 second, he's up a kind of couple of $100, and then the next, his account shows liquidated, balance at 0. And we kind of started, stared at the screen like it was a kind of horror movie, right? Refreshing and praying it was just a UI bug. But it wasn't, right? And that's kind of when I added one simple kind of safeguard, a hard stop loss on every leveraged trade, right? Set it on the exchange's server, not in my head. Now, this kind of iconic kind of climax, it all kind of, all these kind of as tails actually kind of, I guess the iconic climax of all of these kind of tales is that kind of no one or none, in fact, of these kind of draw-dropping prices, the $161 million, the $34,000, or even the $21,000 on TV, ever kind of represented a single legitimate valuation of XRP. Yet each kind of blip triggered emotional stampedes, real losses, and conspiracy theories that kind of echo in today's space. It's all about, trying to protect the kind of storm, or kind of trying to predict even the perfect storm of technical kind of fragility. It meets human kind of psychology. And when a number kind of breaks the law of math on your screen, your kind of rational brain whispers, ignore it. But every kind of lizard brain instinct screams, this is the kind of secret window of a lifetime. So what do we actually do, and what is our actual takeaway here? Well, first, screenshots can lie, right? Always cross-check on the latest 2 highly liquid exchanges before believing a wild price swing. And second, right, if you trade leverage, set exchange hosted stop losses and use sensible position sizes, because a flash crash doesn't give you time to manually close, right? And then of course, third, understand that glitches can spill into mainstream media, and unsuspecting friends or family that may actually hit you up for insider tips. Now, be calm, be the calm voice, I should say, explaining data feeds, and instead of kind of just going into the hype, essentially. Now, at the end of the day, XRP is still bouncing around in its usual kind of sub kind of $2, $3 kind of playground. And that's okay, right? These kind of tech errors are a reminder that Our entire crypto ecosystem is basically a kind of toddler learning to walk. Sure, it can be cute, exciting, but frequently face planting the floor, right? And each kind of glitch, from Coinbase's $7,308 opener to last month's $21,000 TV cameo, it kind of teaches us the same lesson. Double check, stay humble, and don't let a rogue ticker decide your future.